Good morning and welcome to our second COVID briefing for the coming semester. I'm Robin Kaler, the Associate Chancellor for Public Affairs here at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Today we're focusing on what students and parents need to know for the return for the fall 2021 semester. As always, an archived version of this briefing will be posted to the covid19.illinois.edu website, and we'll let you know when it's up there with all the captions on it for future reference. Today, our panelists are going to be Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Danita M.B. Young, Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Dean of Student Support and Advocacy, Stephen Bryan, and Graduate College Dean, Wojtek Hodźko-Zajko. To get as many questions as possible today, we're just going to have some brief opening comments from Dr. Brown-Young, and then we're going to get right to the questions. So, Danita, could you take it away for us?
Absolutely, Robin. Thank you so much. Well, welcome to the University of Illinois. We have good systems in place to maximize your experience and safety while on campus. And, we have learned so much from this past year during COVID-19, and we are grateful for COVID-19 vaccines. They are safe and effective. We are following science-based guidelines and recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, our Illinois Department of Public Health, Champaign-Urbana Public Health Department, and our award-winning SHIELD team, of course. But throughout the pandemic, as things change, we have pivoted quickly. So thank you for your continued patience and flexibility as we respond to these ever-changing landscapes that we have here on campus. But please continue to check your university email, as that is an official mode of communication, and the COVID-19 website, which is covid19.illinois.edu for the most updated information.
Great, thank you, Danita. Let's go ahead and start with you with the overarching question of what students should expect their college experience will be like this year.
Well, your college experience is what you make it, and you will get out what you put into it. And understand that normal would mean that we are living in a world without COVID-19, but we are living in a world that has COVID-19. But we are confident that our SHIELD safety protocols and the state of Illinois mitigation efforts and increased availability of the vaccine give us a strong approach and plan for the fall of 2021 semester. And we will continue to maximize safety, because that is important, while also maximizing, your education and experience. COVID-19 has challenged us to develop new ways of providing instruction, student services, research collaborations, and administrative support functions. These new ways of approaching our work will provide students with opportunities to have an Illinois experience that includes in-person instruction, advising, and student support. But it also means that students will be able to have an improved social life, attend student events, be involved in registered student organizations, attend large gatherings, engage in research, have the ability to explore our beautiful campus and community, make new friends, and just simply interact with others in person instead of virtually. And of course, this includes attending athletic events in person to cheer on our beloved Illini.
Sounds great. Very fun. Let's drill down just a little bit though, and maybe get to a little more urgent question. What about move-in? How is that going to work for new and transfer undergraduates especially?
Well, as soon as our students arrive on campus, they must begin to follow the university guidance with regard to vaccinations, face masks, and testing. Now, this information is available in detail on the university COVID-19 website. So hopefully you'll start to hear and remember the COVID-19 website, but all students are required to be vaccinated and to upload evidence of having received a university-approved vaccine via the My McKinley portal, which is mymckinley.illinois.edu. Again, all university students, faculty, staff, and visitors must wear a face covering in university spaces, indoors, regardless of vaccination status. And until you are able to be vaccinated, you are required to participate in the COVID-19 saliva testing program. If you are not yet vaccinated, you should plan to test as soon as you arrive on campus. Students who have not already been vaccinated can go to the State Farm Center next week. There will be walk-in COVID-19 vaccines given from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., August 16th through the 19th. The week of August 23rd, there will also be vaccination appointments available at the Campus Recreation Center East, or what we affectionately call CRC. Students can also visit vaccines.gov to look for other vaccine appointments in the local community. Now, if you are a new student moving into certified housing, follow the check-in process provided to you by University Housing or private certified housing. Students living in university housing, this includes residence halls, apartments, will need to follow the additional guidance provided by university housing. Any adult members of your family living with you in university-owned family and graduate apartments will also be required to follow university COVID-19 regulations regarding vaccination and testing. Students residing in our private certified housing, apartments, fraternity, or sorority housing are still required to follow university COVID-19 regulations regarding vaccination and testing. Students should also follow the guidance provided by their housing's management concerning any recommendations or requirements for social distancing, face coverings, and use of common spaces where available. Please contact them with any questions that you may have. And students who are encouraged, we are definitely encouraging students to self-quarantine if they have been traveling, and they may do so in their residence, but they will be permitted to conduct essential activities such as grocery shopping or visiting the doctor. Residents who are required by the health department to quarantine because of exposure to a positive case or isolate because of testing positive will be provided specific instructions on formal quarantine and isolation housing depending on where they live.
Anita, let me add that we've heard from some students that they're concerned about what's going to happen when they come to campus. And we want to make it clear that it's really important that you know we will not turn a student away from entering their residence, even during move-in, if they haven't tested. If you haven't tested, go to your residence, test as soon as you can or immediately after you move in, and you will be required to test again in a couple of days. So come to campus, get tested, upload your vaccination status, and somebody will be available to help you if you have questions.
Thank you for adding that, Wojciech. And just to make clear then also, Wojciech, since I think it's probably more graduate than undergraduate students, the only quarantining required is for those who've traveled internationally, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. That sounds good. It's going to be very active next week, clearly. Danita, let me go back to you. Can you clarify for everybody who is required to get a COVID vaccine?
Who is required to get a COVID vaccine?
Yeah.
If there's any requirements. So the university is requiring vaccinations for all individuals. And if you cannot be vaccinated, then you are required to participate in the COVID-19 saliva testing program. So for our undergraduate students, that means if you are unvaccinated, you must test every other day. If you are a graduate student, you must test twice a week if you are unvaccinated.
Great, thank you. And we've gotten this question several times. What about those who've had COVID? Are they still required to vaccinate?
That is, they are still required to vaccinate, to receive the vaccine. And again, they would follow the guidelines that we have put in place with the testing program.
Great, sounds good. And Wojciech, can you talk a little bit about which vaccines are being accepted and why?
Sure. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC guidance regarding COVID-19 vaccines applies to vaccines currently authorized for emergency use by the US Food and Drug Administration. In the US, that's the Pfizer, the Moderna, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. However, in addition, for our international students, we also recognize vaccines that have been authorized for emergency use by the World Health Organizations. So all of these COVID-19 vaccines will be accepted by the university for building access and compliance in fall 2021. Please refer to the university's COVID-19 website for a list of all those vaccines, as well as for more information about the university's guidance for students, faculty, and staff.
Great, thank you. And I realize I wanted to ask you a follow-up question earlier, Danita. We've had a lot of students who were here, who were part of the university last year, but were remote all year, and really are kind of the equivalent of a new student as far as orientation goes. Can you talk a little bit about what how we're helping those students who are, second year students who, or whether they're undergrad, who still haven't really had a chance to explore the campus and be sort of officially welcomed?
Maybe I'll start that one. We recognize that the pandemic has been a really challenging time for everyone, and especially difficult for students and those who have had to start their programs remotely and might never have been to campus. We have many events planned to help you become familiarized with the campus and introduce you to the many opportunities available to you. And Danita can tell us a little bit about orientation.
Absolutely. One of the events that I am excited about is our student orientation, which will be held August 19th through the 22nd. It's an event that is designed to give new, transfer, and our second year students timely and critical information for making the most of their experience at Illinois. So our students really need to download that Illinois app to see the full schedule of events. And our second year students, we have not forgotten about you. Throughout this academic year, there will also be a series of events held specifically for you. So keep checking the new student programs website and your university email for updates about these events.
And we also encourage students to read the weekly e-bulletins that are sent to your university email each Sunday. This is iNews for undergraduate students, which provides you with news about campus events, programs, and information of interest to you. And GradLinks for graduate students, which features news opportunities for graduate students and postdocs. You never need to be at a loss for what to do at Illinois. Just simply check those messages and you'll find many, many different suggestions of things that you can do to fill your day and make sure you have a really full social calendar.
Sounds great. Thank you both. Now let's get back to vaccines. I'm sorry about that. Danita, can you talk a little bit about how vaccine cards are verified? We've had a lot of people who think once they've uploaded, they're good to go, and it's not quite that simple, right?
No, it's not quite that simple. You definitely have to make sure that when you are uploading your vaccination record via the My McKinley portal, you need to be patient because it does take time for the McKinley Health Center to review and verify the record after you do submit it. And as a reminder, your vaccination record card, it has to be fully verified by the university to replace the testing requirement. So once your vaccination has completed the verification process, the records can take about 12 to 24 hours to appear in the Safer Illinois app. And you can also check to see if your record has been verified by visiting the immunization section of the My McKinley portal. You just have to select the view history and then click print. And there should be a full list of your verified vaccination records. If your record is verified and still is not appearing in your Safer Illinois app, make sure your app is updated to the latest version. But if you still are having problems, please make sure that you contact the Wellness Answer Center by emailing covidwellness@illinois.edu.
They will take very good care of you, as they always do when people reach out to them. Yeah, I can attest to that. Stephen, we know we have some people on our campus who cannot be vaccinated for COVID-19. Is there an exemption process for them? What happens with them?
So we recognize that there are some students who are not able to be vaccinated, and those students are required to participate in our saliva testing program as part of our COVID-19 on-campus testing program. Students who are not able to participate in the saliva testing program are required to participate in the nasal swab testing program, and information on how to do that is on the COVID-19 site. But if a student is unable to be vaccinated and is not able to participate in either the saliva testing or the nasal swab testing, the student is required to move to a fully online schedule and is not expected to come to campus. So there is no exemption process for the vaccine.
Okay, great. And just to be clear, because we've gotten this one some too, people should not use the religious exemption form through the Dean of Students website to get exempted from the COVID-19 vaccine, right?
That's absolutely correct. There is not a way to be exempted through that exemption form for the COVID-19 vaccination. So again, students who are unable to be vaccinated are required to participate in the testing program.
Great, thank you. And Wojtek, what about people who can't get, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but people who can't get vaccinated until they come to campus? It's obviously not too late for them. Can you talk a little bit about what they need to do?
No, it's not too late. You should plan to test as soon as you arrive on campus. Students who have not already been vaccinated can go to the State Farm Center next week. There will be walk-in COVID-19 vaccines given from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. from August 16th through 19th. In the week of August the 23rd, there'll also be vaccination appointments available at CERSI.
And Wojtek, for students who are traveling from other countries who will need to quarantine, what are we telling them? Any specific advice or support?
Yes, if you are an unvaccinated international student, you'll need to self-quarantine for 7 days. During this time, you're permitted to leave your residence to test and be vaccinated for COVID-19. Students are also permitted to conduct essential activities such as visiting the doctor and getting essential groceries and supplies.
Great, thank you. And Danita, you've mentioned
Can I just clarify? So I just want to clarify the time of the walk-in COVID-19 vaccines at the State Farm Center. They will be given from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. August 16th through the 19th. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Actually, that was just what I was going to ask you is, can you, I know parents are probably grabbing paper and pen, those of us who still use those, or grabbing their phones to be able to make a note on it. Can you walk through again the process and the availability of vaccines for students who haven't had a chance to get those yet?
Yeah, that's the question that we always receive from our students. How do I find out about these vaccination appointments? And again, your best bet is always to go to the COVID-19 Illinois website, or you can go to the McKinley Health Center webpage, and that information is there. But again, we will have the walk-in COVID-19 vaccines at State Farm Center, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., August 16th through the 19th. And then the week of August 23rd, there will be the vaccination appointments available at CERSI. Now, students may also visit vaccines.gov to look for other vaccine appointments in the local community. This information, it may sound repetitive, but we really want our students to understand the role in keeping themselves and our community safe. And again, you can always go back to the covid19.illinois.edu website.
Well, and speaking of keeping us safe, are we going to be requiring vaccine boosters for students this fall?
Well, I say at this time, please underscore at this time, there are no COVID-19 vaccine boosters required this fall. We will continue to follow guidance from the CDC, the Illinois Department of Public Health, and the Champaign-Urbana Public Health Department regarding any vaccine boosters.
Great, thank you. And Stephen, this has come up a lot with us, obviously with testing and vaccines, and this is a disease. A lot of people have concerns about their health privacy rights. Can you confirm that we are not requiring people to share their COVID-19 vaccination status with anyone?
Absolutely. So you are not required to share your vaccination status. That doesn't necessarily mean that people won't ask, but you're not required to answer. However, you may be asked and are expected to show your building access status in the Safer Illinois app or through the boarding pass. And the building access screen is the critical screen here. If you look at that Safer Illinois app, you'll see that there's also a screen that shows green if your vaccination status has been verified. You don't have to show that to anyone. So this is to protect everyone's private health information. And again, you're not required to show that part of the screen that indicates your vaccination status.
Great, thank you. That's reassuring. And can you talk a little bit about the building access requirements for the fall, and will there still be people checking the way there were last year at the doors?
Sure. So any student who is on campus for any reason is expected to be vaccinated or participate in our testing program. So wellness support associates will be spot checking throughout campus buildings in various locations throughout the fall semester. And some buildings may have dedicated staff who are asking folks for their status as they come into the door. And remember, it's the building access status and not your vaccination status.
Great, thank you. And of course, for new students and parents who don't know, as I think Danita might have alluded to it earlier in the program, a group of our faculty developed a saliva-based PCR test for COVID-19 that has been used at our campus over 1 million times over the past year. Can you talk a little bit about the Safer Illinois app, Danita, that goes with the test?
Absolutely. The Safer Illinois app is one of the recommended methods for displaying the building access status that Stephen just talked about. You as students should download it before you arrive on campus. If you have questions about that app, again, you should contact the Wellness Answer Center by emailing them at covidwellness@illinois.edu. Now, as an alternative method, if you need to verify the building access status, the university has created a COVID-19 boarding pass system. Students, faculty, and staff with an active net ID can log into the COVID-19 boarding pass page located at go.illinois.edu/boarding pass and click Get Status. The website will display the individual's building access status as either access granted or access denied. The web page with this information can be physically printed out and shown during a building access check, or the individual can log into the boarding pass website on their phone at the check.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that clarification. And I know there's a lot of anxiety about, obviously, about COVID-19 these days. But for a new student, as a parent of a couple of kids who graduated from Illinois over the past few years, I know they had a lot of anxiety just about going to college in general. So now you add the idea that maybe I couldn't be vaccinated and I'm going to wear a mask and people might treat me differently. Can you talk a little bit about what we're doing to reassure those students who cannot be vaccinated that they're still going to be welcomed?
Oh, absolutely, they're going to be welcome. And no one will know your vaccination status, and you are not required to share it with anyone. However, unvaccinated individuals will be required to participate in our COVID-19 testing program. Our undergraduate students without a university verified vaccination record card will be required to test and receive negative results every other day to maintain compliance and building access. Our graduate and professional students without a university verified vaccination record card are required to test and receive negative results twice a week to maintain that compliance and building access. Now, this testing, that frequency took effect on August the 2nd. And even individuals who have a university verified vaccination record card on file will still have full access to the COVID-19 testing program and may continue testing if they choose. So in addition, all faculty, staff, students, and visitors are required to wear face coverings in all university facilities. So it will not be possible to identify a vaccinated individual versus an unvaccinated individual because the building, the Safer Illinois app only shows access granted or access denied.
And Danita, you referred to the mask or face covering requirement that was just issued recently in light of the Delta variant. I mean, obviously, we're all concerned about that variant. Can you talk a little bit about what the university is doing to maximize safety in light of that?
Again, we follow the guidance from the CDC, and the CDC says that vaccines are highly safe and effective in protecting against COVID-19, including all the known variants. And here at our university, the COVID-19 vaccine is required for all faculty, staff, and students who are able to be vaccinated. Now, the CDC also says Delta variant spreads more easily and faster than any other variant among the unvaccinated. This is one reason all unvaccinated faculty, staff, and students are required to test frequently for this fall 2021 semester. We encourage everyone to help keep our campus safe. All faculty, staff, students, and visitors, I cannot stress this enough, are required to wear their face coverings in all university facilities. And even, again, the fully vaccinated individuals will have access to our on-campus COVID testing if they choose to use it. Because though vaccine breakthrough cases appear in only a small percentage of people who are fully vaccinated, if you start to experience symptoms, you should test immediately.
Well, that's a really good point. And Stephen, can you maybe walk us through what happens if a student, vaccinated or not vaccinated, does test positive for COVID this semester? What's the process there?
Sure, Robin. So students will receive an email when COVID-19 test results are available in the McKinley Health Center patient portal. If you've turned on the setting in the Safer Illinois app, you will receive a notification of the availability of your result. If you test positive, you will also receive an automated text message from Shield Team 30. Upon being notified of such a result, you should immediately isolate in your residence, and Champaign-Urbana Public Health Department will be in contact with you within 24 hours to discuss isolation expectations.
Thank you very much. That's good to know. And Danita, we know over the past year, a big issue has been mental health and wellness of our students, faculty, and staff. And I know you and I have worked together on a group with a lot of our colleagues to try to address that. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what some of those new resources and expanded resources will be this fall?
You're absolutely right, Robin. This pandemic has been tough on all of us, our mental health and even our physical health, but we absolutely care about individuals' mental health. And we have listened to our students, and the university is committed to increasing counseling center appointments and the scheduling options that go along with it. So we have added a pilot program for online scheduling. And I know a lot of our students are saying yes, that will augment the current call-in scheduling option. Now, we are going to analyze the online scheduling usage and appointment no-show metrics to determine if online scheduling can be expanded after the pilot program. We have also committed to continue the expansion of the embedded counselor program into our academic units. And I'm happy to report we will be adding a therapy dog to the counseling center services. And we have committed to hiring an additional psychiatrist at McKinley Health Center, and that process is already underway. Public safety, now they have launched a response, evaluation, and crisis help team, which is also called REACH, to help students who experience a mental health related emergency. The REACH team is staffed by social workers who will respond with behavioral health detectives trained in crisis intervention to provide an on-scene clinical assessment. And the REACH staff, they will follow up with students. They will help them connect with long-term care to ensure they do not slip through the cracks. This is a large place, and sometimes, things can happen, but they are there to really support and follow up on students. And additionally, our university police have added therapy canines to their team to support our students and others who may be experiencing a little bit of stress and anxiety.
And Danita, can I just add too that the Student Assistance Center in the Office of the Dean of Students is also a fantastic resource. And just a reminder again, we want our community to reach out to our Student Assistance Center, to the Dean of Students office when you are concerned about a student, and we will also follow up as well. But just to add to UIPD, what you're mentioning there, they've added some resources to maximize the safety for our students. So in addition to REACH and the therapy canines, which are wonderful, University Police has substantially increased its educational and crime prevention efforts through a new community outreach and support team, or fondly called COAST. And COAST is available to provide crime prevention resources and programming and other supportive services in order to give our university community members the information and tools they need to look out for themselves and others. University Police has also enhanced its patrol and emergency response operations to address nationwide trend of increased gun violence during this pandemic. We are fortunate that gun violence has not directly impacted our campus to date, although there have been a few relatively small number of incidents reported on the periphery of campus. But our UIPD is enhancing its patrol efforts and identifying and holding accountable those responsible, along with Champaign Police and Urbana Police and the Sheriff's Department, for gun violence in our community. And we want our students, faculty, and staff to be able to focus on their academic success, their teaching, their research and service, as well as social activities on campus.
Oh, Stephen, I'm so glad that you mentioned that Office of the Dean of Students, and that we really are a community of care, and we want everyone to be successful. We don't want people on this campus just surviving. We want them to thrive. And so absolutely, if you don't know where to go, start with your office in the Office of the Dean of Students, and our team will certainly help.
Great, thank you both. And again, I think we've reinforced many times that we're optimistic that our students will all, as many as possible, will be able to get vaccinated. But again, for those who cannot, Stephen, can you talk a little bit about what are those testing requirements, and what do we mean by every other day? What if I'm not on campus every day? How does that work?
Sure. So every other day means just that, every other day. So if you're an undergraduate student and you don't have a university verified vaccination record card on file through the McKinley Health Portal, you are required to test every other day. So if you move to campus in the Champaign-Urbana area on a Sunday and you get tested that day, then your schedule would be the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and the following Monday, and so on. If you're unable to sustain this testing regimen, we want you to move to a fully online schedule, and you will not be expected to be on campus unless you are in the testing regimen. If this is going to be a problem for you, we encourage you to contact your academic advisor to discuss how you might move to that online schedule. But we fully expect that every other day undergraduate testing for those who are not vaccinated.
Great. And again, you use the adjective undergraduate. So Wojtek, can you talk a little bit about the testing regimen for graduate students and teaching, and especially those who are teaching assistants?
Yes, certainly, Robin. Well, we require and expect and hope that graduate students will upload a vaccination record card, which will give them access to facilities. But for those students who cannot be vaccinated, currently graduate students are required to test 2 times per week in order to achieve building access for any university facility. Detailed information about this is once again available on the University COVID-19 page.
Great. And again, we are confident that the vast majority of our students will be vaccinated. Those who can't will follow the testing regimen. Stephen, for that very small group that does not do either of those, can you talk a little bit about the consequences for not following the testing requirements if you're in that group?
Sure, and we certainly hope that doesn't happen, but students who don't follow the expectations will face disciplinary action for failure to comply with our on-campus expectations. And I just want to reassure folks that if you miss one test, you're not going to be dismissed from the university. Let me make that abundantly clear. So if you go away for a weekend, for example, you can't be tested every other day, but a pattern of missed tests and noncompliance may result in dismissal from the institution.
Sounds good.
Yes,
So, go ahead.
absolutely. I just want to also mention, because we get this all the time, we do not expel students from this university. That expulsion is not even a part of our student code. So I want to put that out there early on in this semester.
Thank you, Danita. That is something people are routinely confused about, even people within the university sometimes. Yeah. So Stephen, could just say, to make sure we're clear on the weekend thing, we're saying if I want to go home for the weekend and visit my family, I can do that. And walk me through again, what do I do when I get back?
Sure. So if you plan on being away for the weekend, you should test immediately prior to your departure and then immediately upon your return. So if your status in the Safer Illinois app changes to building access denied, you will not be able to access campus facilities, excluding your residence hall, as we've previously mentioned, prior to resuming testing. So it's important that you plan in advance to allow time for testing and a negative result prior to entering the campus facilities. So if you will be away from campus for more than 7 days, we ask that you change your student location address in student self-service, so we will be aware of that.
Great, thank you. And Danita, this is a really important point, so I want to make sure we're very clear on it. What are the face covering requirements for fall 2021?
Absolutely. All university students, faculty, staff, and visitors must wear a face covering in university spaces indoors, regardless of vaccination status. Now, individuals with a medical condition or disability that prevents them from safely wearing a face covering may seek a reasonable accommodation, and students needing an accommodation should contact the Division of Disability Resources and Educational Services, which we also call DRES, and employees, including student employees, needing workplace accommodations should contact the ADA Division of the Office of Access and Equity.
And again, we've kind of touched on this earlier, but can you explain why the face covering rule applies even to people who are fully vaccinated?
Absolutely. Again, we go under the guidance of the CDC, and the CDC recommends that even fully vaccinated individuals should wear face coverings in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high community transmission of COVID-19. And the Illinois Department of Public Health and the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District fully support this new guidance. Even though our campus community is making good progress in mitigating COVID-19 impacts with our vaccination and our testing participation, Champaign County remains among those areas with concerning levels of transmission. So we will continue to follow guidance from local and state health officials.
Great, thank you. And Stephen, can you talk again about how specifically we are monitoring and enforcing compliance?
Sure. The university is enforcing compliance and monitoring through a variety of mechanisms, including the spot checks that we've previously discussed by the Wellness Support Associates for entry into classroom buildings and some other university buildings. And we also have electronic measures to monitor, support, or compliance as well. So students who fall out of testing compliance, as I've said previously, they face university disciplinary action, an outcome which might be dismissal. And dismissal, just to define that, is basically separation from the institution for a period of time, not expulsion, as Danita said. We do not expel our students. But we hope, again, that will not be necessary because we fully expect our students to be vaccinated, and those who are not vaccinated are religiously participating in our testing program.
Great. And Stephen, last year, I know we had a lot of help from our community, sort of crowdsourcing, monitoring. Can you talk a little bit about how people can help us find problems across campus so that we can address them?
Sure. So reports may be filed with the Office for Student Conflict Resolution. The easiest way to do so is you can send an email to conflictresolution@illinois.edu, or you can go to the Office for Student Conflict Resolution website. The easiest way to get there is just go to Google and type in Office for Student Conflict Resolution, report COVID violation, UIUC, University of Illinois, and it'll pop up as the first link. And you can choose to be anonymous in that report if you like.
Great, thank you. And Danita, you talked a bit earlier about cheering on the Illini, which we're all very excited to do. Can you tell us a little bit about the COVID-19 policies at events this fall?
Yes, I'm definitely excited to get back to cheer on the Illini. You know, football is my game. But for those of you who are new to the state of Illinois, there is a public safety approach and framework called the Restore Illinois Plan, which gives us guidance to safely operate within the state. And the state of Illinois is now in phase 5 of that Restore Illinois Plan. Following these guidelines, all university students, faculty, staff, and visitors must wear a face covering in university spaces indoors, regardless of that vaccination status. And again, signage with these expectations are going to be posted at the entrance of every event, and it should be included in any sort of registration information for that event. And the University of Illinois Athletics is following current CDC guidance regarding the use of face coverings indoors. This includes the requirement to wear face coverings in Memorial Stadium's 77 Club, the Colonnades Club, the suites, and other common indoor areas, as well as in Huff Hall.
Can't leave out volleyball, can we? That's right.
No, not at all.
And can you talk a little bit about the requirements in residence halls, dining halls, fitness centers, that sort of facility?
Again, I know this sounds repetitive, but all university students, faculty, staff, and visitors must wear a face covering in university spaces indoors, regardless of the vaccination status. While eating or drinking in a dining hall or campus eatery, face coverings may be removed, but must be worn otherwise. And patrons are required to wear a face covering inside campus recreation facilities. For more or additional information regarding our campus COVID-19 testing and vaccine requirements, please visit our Illinois COVID-19 webpage.
And you mentioned visitors. Will visitors have to test? And if so, how do they do that? Or if not, how can they access it?
There are no COVID-19 vaccination or testing requirements for our visitors. However, visitors from outside the campus community are encouraged to be fully vaccinated for COVID-19 if they are able to do so. If visitors are unvaccinated, they are welcome to utilize the SHIELD CU testing program.
Great. And Stephen, what advice do you have for students who are on campus who kind of want to have that full student experience Danita talked about at the beginning of the program, but they also want to maximize their COVID-19 safety?
Sure. So first, as we've said, being vaccinated puts you in a far better position than not being vaccinated. So if you're able and you've not been vaccinated as required by the university, get vaccinated either before you come or when the moment you arrive on campus. Second, be intentional in the social settings in which you place yourself. Avoid large gatherings in a confined space where individuals may be choosing not to wear a mask or face covering. You may want to be proactively wearing a face mask off campus anywhere you go as an additional layer of prevention, both for you and others. If you go to a party, a bar, or other social setting, and I see you when I drive down Green Street and see you lined up outside some of these bar entrances, please wear a mask in line. And I encourage you to wear a mask inside the facility, except when you're consuming a legal beverage of your choice. Please, 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 for your own safety.
Thank you for that additional plug there, Stephen. Appreciate that. And Danita, we know some students are going to prefer to be fully remote this semester. Can you talk a little bit about their options for that?
Absolutely. You know, students needing or wishing to enroll remotely, they have a wide variety of online options for courses and sections of courses. And as always, students should check with their academic advisor to ensure the courses are helping them make appropriate progress in their program of study. So if you don't know who your academic advisor is, you definitely need to get to know who they are.
Great, thank you. And Wojtek, you know, we know Illinois is known around the world as a major powerhouse research university. Can you talk a little bit about graduate students who are wanting to do research this fall?
Certainly. You know, Illinois is open for research and scholarship. Both graduate and undergraduate students from all over campus play a critically important role in a world-renowned research mission. The university is committed to facilitating a safe return to on-site research and scholarships for all members of the research community. You should check with your department or your research advisor concerning any specific requirements for your lab or for your research group.
Okay, that makes sense. And I know a lot of research involves travel. Can you talk a little bit about any travel guidance we might have this fall?
Yeah, we anticipate that there will be increased opportunities for professional and research travel in the coming academic year. In order to maximize safety for all concerned, the university has developed travel guidelines for all students and employees. Students wishing to travel should consult with their departments as well as be prepared to follow all campus travel regulations.
Great, thank you. And Danita, we know international students will be able to travel back this year. We're hoping that most of them will. Can you talk a little bit about how they upload their vaccination record, and does it have to be in English?
Well, if you have been vaccinated for COVID-19 in another country, but have not already uploaded your vaccination record card, please submit your COVID-19 vaccination record card and provide consent in the My McKinley portal, which is mymckinley.illinois.edu, as soon as possible. As a reminder, your vaccination record card has to be fully verified by the university in order for it to replace the testing requirement. Once your vaccination has completed verification, again, those records can take about 12 to 24 hours to appear in the Safer Illinois app. Instructions outlining how to submit that vaccination record card and provide consent are located on the vaccination page of the university COVID website, just in case you can't keep track of all the information in this briefing. But please know, you must provide a certified English translation of your vaccine card or record if they are not in English. And if your vaccine card already has the translation pre-printed on your card in addition to your native language, this is acceptable as long as the name of the vaccine and your name is on the card in English. This is the same process as required for other required immunization records.
Great. So nothing new on that one. That's wonderful. Thank you. And Wojtek, I know we've talked almost exclusively about COVID, but in general, can you tell us where graduate students might go if they have any kind of questions about academics or classes or any of that sort of thing?
Yeah, certainly. If you have any questions about your academic program, the best place to start is your home department. Reach out to your advisor or to the director of graduate studies in your department. If they're not able to answer your questions, they will be able to direct you to someone who can.
Wonderful. And I am proud to say that we have blown through our list of almost 40 questions in less than an hour. So go team. We'll let everybody get back to their lives in just a minute and start preparing, following all the wonderful advice you've given. But Danita, could you just help us wrap up and give folks a final welcome?
Absolutely. Thank you, Robin, for being such a wonderful, gracious facilitator as always. And thank you, Stephen and Wojtek, for sharing your expertise today. I'm really looking forward to this next year. I have missed in-person experiences with our students in particular and our teams and our faculty and our staff, but I am eager to take what we have learned from the past year during COVID-19 to make our students on campus Illinois experience safe, successful, and memorable. And so I can't wait for our students to start arriving and to start their Illinois journey.
I am so with you on that. Yeah, walking across the quad these days, I'm starting to picture when all the people come back and it becomes the place that we've all grown to love so much. So thank you, Danita Brown-Young, Stephen Bryan, and Wojtek Hodźko-Zyko. Also thanks to Allison Vance, Chris Harris, August Chess, and Katie Watson in Public Affairs, plus Chantel Thompson and Charlotte Bauer, who all helped make this program happen. Also, thank you to Catherine Nickel, who's provided the live captioning for this briefing. And if you haven't already been vaccinated, since we haven't said that yet, and you're able to do so, you can look for appointments on vaccines.gov. And if you are vaccinated, but you haven't uploaded your vaccine record yet into the McKinley portal, please do so now. The sooner you get that done, the sooner we can get you on that building access granted list and make your life so much easier. And as I said before, all these briefings will be recorded and posted to the covid19.illinois.edu website. I hope you go there and refer to them. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and we cannot wait to see you on campus. So please, please, please get here as soon as you can. Get your orange and blue. We miss you, and we look forward to a wonderful semester. Thanks, everybody.